Hello, this is Marcus here. Today, we're going to review some of what's been happening this week in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and get ready for trading the 43rd week of 2020. It's important to remind you that none of what I say is advice or recommendation for you to do anything. Trading and investing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies has many risks. You can lose money. Let's start things off by reviewing how we went last week. As a reminder, we started trading on the 6th of July. We started with one cryptocurrency pair, which was mainly Bitcoin SV against the US dollar, but then we eventually added 15 cryptocurrency pairs in our portfolio. So far we have made 138 trades, so that's good enough sample size to start reviewing our performance. The first time we reviewed it on Saturday 26th of September, it gained around 20%. On the 3rd of October, it was tracking for 10%. And last week, gains are around 7% ROI since July. This week, our strategy gain is slightly up, 7.32% ROI compared to 7.06% last week. When we compare this to the HODL strategy, if we just bought and held during the same period of time, we are doing 3 times better. Now this is somewhat good news, because the trend this week had largely been uncertain. In fact, the prices of these pairs, expressed in US dollars, have declined. So the fact that we are holding ground while the market is declining is a good sign. In this context, by market I mean this collection of currency pairs. To show you what I mean, here are 6 pairs that we are following. It's a chart that shows their price movements since July this year. These yellow boxes indicate where we were the last 7 days. And as you can see, there's not much going on. Because what we are looking for, really, are these types of volatility. This is when our strategy has the best chance of making gains. But as long as we can float above water during these uncertain times, we will be okay. We can continue swimming like this, to follow on with the analogy, until the market breaks out to a trend once again. And because we trade long and short, it doesn't really matter which way the market will go later. It can skyrocket or dive. It doesn't matter. We just have to make sure that during these flat periods we can stay afloat. And so far, with this result from the last 7 days, it looks like we can. This week, I want to discuss something that's at the forefront of our lives at the moment. COVID-19. I know it sounds off topic, but it isn't. It will tie in back to our topic of discussion, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, eventually. These have been the headlines recently. Summer is over, and SARS-CoV-2 is beginning to spread rapidly again. Here in Europe, where I live, cases are beginning to rise, hospital beds are beginning to fill. Businesses are being asked to close, and people are to work at home whenever possible. Here is a website called COVID-19info.live. It's quite an easy resource to use to track the spread of the virus. Here are the number of confirmed cases, and here are the number of people who passed away from COVID-19. And the global tally is now a grim 1.1 million. As the last few tourists find their way back home, and the restaurants and hotels and bars begin to scale down their operations from whatever business they managed to get during the summer, a tidal wave of bankruptcies is coming. In Japan, America, in Europe, the world over. Until a COVID-19 vaccine is ready, it can take about 1 to 3 years according to most experts. Lots of businesses will face difficulties and lots will file for bankruptcies. this will lead to many people losing their jobs. The hospitality industry, including restaurants, hotels, cafes, pubs and bars, they're having a tough time at the moment, including airlines, airports, taxi and limo drivers, and many other industries. Many of us work in these businesses. People who lose their jobs could be us, our friends, relatives, and neighbors. And where do they go? Most of them will seek government support. But governments at the moment are facing reduced tax revenues from struggling and failing businesses. So there's less money for them to help us. And many governments have been helping their economies by simply printing money, borrowing money. Now, when you print a lot of money like this, you add inflationary pressures to the economy. And inflation leads to rapidly rising prices of goods and services. Things will be more expensive. Now, when you read an article in the newspaper about inflation or the risk of it arising from the current pandemic, the answer is there's no risk of inflation if there is productivity. But that's the problem. During this pandemic, our capacity to produce value is greatly reduced. And when we are expecting lots of bankruptcies to come, then we haven't yet seen the unemployment that this will cause. So productivity, or rather the lack of it, or our hindered capacity to produce value, is somewhat limited now. It's hindered. This is the issue, and this is the concern for all of us in the next year or so, until a vaccine is ready. So faced with this, at a time when governments are overstretched, they're burdened, and sometimes they don't know what to do. I think the question for all of us is, what do we do in such circumstances? What are our plans? What are we going to do? Next week, we're going to continue this conversation. In my next video, I will share with you my thoughts on this. You can subscribe to our Trading Adventures channel on YouTube to get notified of the next video. And in the meantime, you can follow my trading signals at my website at marcuscomellup.com. Thank you. Until next time. Bye.